This is it. This is the cheap luxury car giga list. All 20 of these cars can be had for under £5,000. They all offer some level of luxury, or at least they were designed to be luxurious. We got a lot to cover, so let's get straight into it. Do hit the like for 20 cars in this video and subscribe for 2 videos every week. Without further ado, let's get straight into it. Let's kick off with the Volvo XC90, an absolute bus of a luxury SUV with a 2.5 litre turbo diesel inline 5 engine, which makes 185 brake horsepower, taking it to 60 in 10.6 seconds, which you can easily get for under £5,000, given they start at about £2,000. It's super minimalist on the interior, so less flashy than some of the other cars on this list, but given its age, that's not a bad thing, and it doesn't look as dated. On the exterior, yes, it's pretty boring, but luxury is all about it feeling as comfortable as possible. Next up, it's the perfect poor man's luxury car, the second generation Skoda Superb, which punches well above its weight, particularly in Lauren and Clement spec. You're getting a 2 litre turbo diesel inline 4, which makes 138 brake horsepower, which means it'll do 0 to 60 in 9.9 seconds. They start at around £2,500, so super easy to get one for under 5k. It looks surprisingly modern for a car that has probably got the least luxurious materials going into it of all the cars on this list, but as I've spoken about before, Skoda offer you some really cool luxury extra features, like the umbrella housed in the door. Hard to make a luxury car video without a Range Rover, in this case specifically the third generation example with its 4.4 litre V8 engine that produces 281 brake horsepower with a 0 to 60 time of 9 seconds. You'll find ropey examples starting at around £2,000, so very gettable for under 5k, though hopefully you know that reliability on these is known to be pretty poor. I would aim for an autobiography spec to maximise luxury, and if you're after one, really look for service history over mileage to try to negate the likelihood of buying a lemon. We've got a couple of rogue cars in this video, and the Peugeot 607 is definitely one of them, with its 3 litre V6 engine which puts out 216 brake horsepower and a 0 to 60 time of 8.9 seconds. 2.5k will get you into one of these, but the V6s I've seen starting at around £4,000. Peugeot are not known for luxury cars, but the 607 took the fight to the German executive cars, hence it came with a classy interior and the best technology available, including an optional TV. Let's not talk about the boring exterior, it's what's inside that counts with the 607. We're on to another luxury bus, the first generation Audi Q7, which comes with a 3 litre turbo diesel V6 producing 229 brake horsepower and managing 0 to 60 in 8.8 seconds. They normally start at around £3,000, which is not bad for a proper luxury family SUV. It's not an off-roader in the slightest and has 7 seats, a luxurious interior for its time, and is ridiculously large, easy to compensate for a small appendage in a car this big. But being serious, on release it was named a masterclass in luxury given the expensive materials used throughout. Another strange but weirdly cool car up next, the Citroen C6 with its 2.7 litre turbo diesel V6 that makes 208 brake horsepower, meaning it manages 0 to 60 in 8.6 seconds and costs around £2,500 at the bottom end. Over the years, Citroen have made some beautiful luxury cars which fly under the radar, and I think the C6 is one of those cars with its amazing exterior design, a lovely interior, that incredibly cool concave rear window, wafty dynamics, and a complete flop in terms of sales figures, with less than 900 selling in the UK over 6 years. Next up is another strange old luxury car frequented by British politicians in the early 2000s, the Rover 75 with its 2.5 litre V6 engine that makes 174 brake horsepower and does 0 to 60 in 8.6 seconds. To look like a politician, you'll need to spend around £1,500 at the bottom end. Rover were dying at the time, and the 75 was one of 3 cars built to try and save the brand. It came as a saloon, estate and long wheelbase model, and the interior has that typical old school British regal luxury design and some really cool specs. On to one of my favourites now, the VW Phaeton, the car VW made to show BMW and Mercedes that it could make better luxury cars than them. It comes with a 3 litre turbo diesel V6 engine which makes 229 brake horsepower, taking it from 0 to 60 in 8.1 seconds, and will cost you around £2,500 to get into at a minimum. Given it's the same platform as the Bentley Continental Flying Spur and the interior was no expenses spared, with a price tag of up to £80,000 when new, don't overlook it just because of the VW badge, it's the real deal. I've always really liked how the Jaguar XJ X350 looks, properly boxy, luxurious and executive, with its 2.7 litre twin turbocharged diesel V6 which puts out 204 brake horsepower, taking it to 60 in 7.8 seconds. You'll get into one of these for a minimum of around £2,500. It was stiffer and stronger than the previous generation, but most importantly it was renowned for being technologically advanced compared to its main competitors, with air suspension too for a comfortable ride. They were luxurious enough to be popular chauffeur cars, carrying the rich and famous to events. I do love an Alfa Romeo, and the 159 is a lovely looking executive car with its 2.4 litre turbo diesel inline 5 which puts out 210 brake horsepower, taking it to 60 in 7.8 seconds. This Giugiaro designed car starts at around £2,500, which is a lot of designer for your money given he's responsible for some of the world's most beautiful cars. That lovely Italian interior had higher quality materials than its German competitors, which was used as a sales differentiator and mean it does feel a lot more luxurious than you'd expect, even if it isn't specifically designed as a luxury car. We're through 10 cars already. That is madness. If you're enjoying it, please do hit the like button. I'd really appreciate it, and make sure that you are subscribed for these 2 videos every week. I would really appreciate that too. And by the way, let me know in the comments as well, should I buy myself a cheap luxury car and see just how bad it would be? Could be quite a lot of fun. The reliability obviously on all of these cars is potentially questionable, so I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. We've got another Audi kicking off the top 10, the 2nd gen A8 with its 3-litre turbo diesel V6, which makes 216 brake horsepower and does 0 to 60 in 7.6 seconds. £2,500 will get you into one too, similar to the Phaeton which it shares its platform with. It's a proper luxury car with its adaptive air suspension offering a comfortable ride, and as it was built to take on the S-Class, Audi had to give their best technology to it. So it's the first Audi to have a bunch of cool features, including a driver identification system. Taking 9th place, it's the Chrysler 300C, the poor man's Bentley as it's fondly referred to, with its 3-litre turbo diesel V6 that makes 215 brake horsepower and does 0 to 60 in 7.4 seconds. It starts at around the £2,000 mark as well. It takes its engine from the Mercedes S-Class and became hugely popular on release in the mid-2000s, being seen in music videos as a status symbol, strange considering Chryslers typically aren't popular in the UK. It has a comfortable interior if a little bit cheap, and all in offers a pretty iconic exterior for the money. We've only got 2 more SUVs on the list, the 1st gen BMW X5 being one of them, with its 4.4-litre V8 engine that makes 320 brake horsepower and does 0 to 60 in 6.8 seconds. Money-wise, £2,500 is the minimum you'll find these listed for. It shares a lot of its parts with the Range Rover mentioned before, as it arrived just after BMW acquired Land Rover and was the first SUV ever produced by the brand. On release, the interiors felt behind the market, but today they've actually aged really well and look pretty cool compared to competitors. How much longer will the 1st gen Porsche Cayenne be available for under £5,000, given it's becoming a bit of a classic, yet still starts at around £2,500? In S-Spec, it comes with a 4.5-litre V8 engine that makes 340 brake horsepower and does 0 to 60 in 6.6 seconds. This car saved Porsche by getting 911 owners to switch their other SUVs for these, and the intention was to make a luxury SUV with familiar Porsche handling and styling. As a result, it has some of the coolest specs, particularly on the interior, of any car on this list. Next up, it's the executive Cadillac BLS, which comes with a 2.8-litre turbocharged V6 that produces 251 brake horsepower and does 0 to 60 in 6.5 seconds, costing you around £3,000 at the bottom end. This is effectively a rebodied Saab 9-3, and it was meant to compete with cars like the BMW 3 Series. The CTS would have been my pick for this spot, but the BLS offers a similar package at a lower price, though it is also a tad more focused on the driver rather than the passengers. It's crazily rare though in the UK, so good luck finding one. You physically can't make a luxury car video without a Mercedes S-Class, arguably the sector leader, which in S500 spec comes with a 5-litre V8 which makes 306 brake horsepower and does 0 to 60 in 6.3 seconds. That'll run you around £4,000 at the bottom end, but you can get other engines cheaper. This is the 4th gen car, and if you want real luxury, aim for a long wheelbase example. It has air suspension, cylinder deactivation for efficiency, and keyless entry with stop-start, amongst other cool features, all of which were leading automotive innovations at the time. And another Mercedes takes 4th on this list, the CLS-Class, which also has that 5-litre V8 making 306 brake horsepower, but as it's slightly lighter, will do 0 to 60 in 5.9 seconds. It does come with a premium though, as 4.5k is around the bottom you'll find them listed for. It's based on the W211E class and has an interesting 4-door coupe fastback design. As it's a generation beyond the S-Class we mentioned, it benefits from a bunch of that tech, along with a couple more modernities that make it a lovely place to be. In 3rd, we have another of my favourites, the Lexus GS450h, the only hybrid on the list, with its 3.5-litre V6 engine combined with an electric motor to produce 341 brake horsepower, taking it to 60 in 5.7 seconds. In terms of price, they start at around £4,600 today. It's understated but still quite beefy, and the powertrain really is a marvel, as is the thought put into making the interior as ergonomic as possible. It's all about the occupants, with insane tech put into safety and usability, as well as luxuries like the heated and cooled seats. The A8's competition from BMW was the 7 Series, which in 750i spec comes with a 4.8-litre V8 engine that makes 361 brake horsepower, taking it from 0 to 60 in 5.7 seconds. Pretty good value for money given they start at around £3,500. It's the flagship BMW from the Bangle Butt era, with a less than traditional interior that swaps out much of the usual dashboard and central console features for cup holders and a large screen, screen, as it was the first BMW to have the iDrive infotainment system. All in, a proper luxury car with a very wafty engine attached. Another luxury Lexus takes the top spot, the flagship LS460 with its 4.6 litre V8 engine that makes 381 brake horsepower and does 0 to 60 in a respectable 5.5 seconds. It is the most expensive car on the list at £5,000 minimum. LS is the range-topping badge for Lexus, and if you go for the long wheelbase, you get executive rear seating which leans back nicely with loads of legroom, fold-down LCD screens, swivel tray table, and even a beverage cooler as if it's a Rolls Royce. And that barely scratches the surface of the luxury this car offers. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. A quick reminder, let me know in the comments if you think I should buy myself a cheap luxury car and see how bad ownership would be. Massive thanks to the patrons for their support and to you guys as well for watching. And if you want to watch another video on more expensive luxury cars than these ones, then click up here and subscribe down here.